Alright, hopefully the server boots up pretty quickly. According to that, my voice isn't all that loud. I need to check some stuff. According to this, my voice should be louder. Alright. Oh yeah. Let me check. Anything's going on in the chat. I forgot I needed a second computer to do that. All right. I had a disastrous wreck while in my SRV the other day. Lost a ton of money. It's okay. Where is... There I am. I don't know why it's been clipping like that lately. Hopefully that gets settled. It takes some work to get back to, the $900 billion I lost. Or no, I'm sorry, the $3 billion I lost. Because I had like 600 million in exobio data. And then I crashed my SRV because I was kind of being depressed. And not depressed because of anything going on in the game. Just so many life things going on. But it certainly was reckless that day. And didn't mind the fact that my hull damage was increasing while I was still doing lots of flips recklessly. At least I still have, I've been uploading my data to like observe, ED discovery. So that map data is still in the player database. The map data is still on my ship. I didn't lose the map data, but I should be able, if I wanted to, which I'm kind of, once I get to the destination I'm heading to, hopefully it's still there. Hopefully what I'm aiming for is still there. The galactic map will reveal all in a second. Got nothing here. 99 jumps on the wall. Yeah, so there's still quite a few more jumps to go. I'll still end up with quite a bit of money by the time I arrive in the form of other exobio because I was only 3/4 of the way there and had 600 million. I could estimate probably, 1/3 of that, 200 million at the end, which would be $1 billion for my efforts. That's not as good as what would have been 4 billion. That's too bad. And I might actually, I kind of do want more than 10 billion because I want enough for a carrier and then I want enough for the carrier to be financially well supported. But I was also thinking more about colonization. I want to get some colonies. Boy, I wish I could build towards the center of the galaxy because that's where all my favorite star systems are. But I'm not sure if I could just do $25 million credit colonies and work my way towards the core. I know that there's a team of people doing that, but the thing is that I think you only get one colony per week. So you can't just go stake a claim way out into the void. You have to build your entities in that direction.
Signal detected. Notable stellar phenomena.
Stellar phenomena hasn't been that interesting to me in a while, and not in this sector. They're all very similar, is what I've observed. In this sector, at least. So I stopped getting bonuses for scanning them, too. Gotta refuel. All right, slow down a little bit so I don't generate too much heat too quickly. Where I am in central Texas, it is quite a rainstorm. Just a steady, steady rain, the kind though that easily fills up our area with water. So definitely expecting floods in Marble Falls area. And maybe if we're lucky, it'll fill up all the lakes. Hmm. I'm thinking in my head about weather change, climate change. I've read that in 50,000 years, presently Earth's orbit right now is more like a circle with equal distance from the sun, but it has an ebb and flow that it alternates towards more elliptical and then towards more circular. And right now, we're in a more circular phase and have been for a little while, but we are expected to return to an elliptical phase in 50,000 years. And at that time, the planet would get dramatically colder and we'd return to a glacial maximum ice age. This is like the ice age you might imagine when Neanderthals were doing their thing and woolly mammoths and all that. So as I recall, there were a lot of planets here. Let's get some distance from the star and we'll start scanning. So 50,000 years from now, the Earth will have extremely cold winters compared to what we have right now because we will actually be meaningfully further away from the sun at that point. And that no matter how much carbon dioxide we put out, it'll still get cold like that, sometime between 50 and 100,000 years. So some of these icy rocky worlds, you have to wonder if like the Earth would qualify as an icy rocky world in a different part of its phase cycle. So far, no life. Considering how beat up I am and how my sort of flippant use of my SRV resulted in my SRV being destroyed and losing a tremendous amount of money, I'm having to be very cagey about what planets I land on. Uh, Only going for big
Body
money.
4D. Methane atmospheric landable with life.
Doesn't look like this has any money. To bring up the had to bring up a GUI on another screen. I guess I'll put it right here so everyone can see. Not really going to keep this up, but this is what Elite Observatory Core looks like, and it'll scan my logs that are written to my own like document folder, written by the game, and know what sort of biological things are more statistically likely. So it helps me guess pretty quickly if the life is worth mapping for.
Body 4C. Close binary relative to body size.
Hmm. So there's a binary system.
Body 3AA. Parent has high angular diameter from body. Close orbit. Nested moon. Body 3D. Argon atmospheric landable with life.
Very pretty. Has that Cthulhu-like eyeball thing going on. Eyes all over its face.
System scan complete.
Where's my guy with his glasses? I thought he had glasses. Oh, I thought he matched my glasses. That's too bad. Of course, I don't have that scar. I don't think I'm missing anything not having that scar. All right. Didn't see any life here worth stopping for.
Frameshift drive charging.
You think you maybe just like pour the martini ingredients in a cup and then wait to jump, and that does all the stirring for you? I prefer my martini stirred by the jostling of hyperspace.
Field scoping.
All right, there's 5 bodies, and 3 of them are stars already. We'll get some distance out. Scan. Not expecting to find much of anything here.
System scan complete.
Oh, so there was a 4th star.
Frameshift drive charging.
Okay. Gaining some distance once again. It's funny how you have to get close to the star system. You have to be in the star system to discover the planetary bodies. But it's easier to find the planetary bodies by going away. So once you arrive, I mean, I guess you're only going a couple light seconds away. Maybe as many as even 60 light seconds. Because of the mechanics of the actual game, it won't load a new star system without going into that hyperjump. So you can fly the distance to the next star system over, but it won't load. And I'm fine with that. It's just an inherent aspect of procedural generation. I suppose if we all had monstrous computers, they could actually make it so you could flow between star systems. But everyone would have to have such a beefy computer in order to be able to achieve that, where you're generating star systems you're not currently in, stuff like that. That would be pretty dope for
Body
some sort of like
4DA.
planets,
Nested moon.
some sort of player-driven inter-system conflict. Be able to jump in without having to jump from gravitational body to gravitational body. That's all much easier to do when you're in the core. The galactic core has a lot of like highly populated star systems that are only 1 or 2 light years from the next system over.
Body 4EA. Nested moon.
Oh, there's the Milky Way, way in the distance for me. Because I'm only in the last, getting to the last arm. So that might have been the exterior arm.
Signal detected. Notable stellar phenomena.
Yeah, I've seen in this sector, the notable stellar phenomena has been remarkably consistent. So I'm not going to roll over there and scan it just for having noticed it.
Signal detected. Notable stellar phenomena.
Not found any biological signatures, none. I mean, since I've been playing, since I started streaming, I haven't found any, but I've only been to like 3 star systems, so I think it's okay. I have a hard stop more than usual based on time and the need to get ready for something. So I definitely won't stream more than about an hour from now.
Frameshift drive charging.
That thing should let me look at the map. It's not like I need to do anything while it's doing that. Let's see here. Hello, dirty socks. I do check my chat. I'm sorry. It was below the fold and I couldn't see it. Yeah, my tips are definitely use these plugins like Elite
New
Observatory
codex entry.
Core,
Sidarsky Class 5 gas giant.
specifically this one. Where's my mouse? Come on. Give me my mouse. Okay, there we are. Elite Observatory Core, when you start scanning planets, it'll be quick to tell you if the life forms are valuable. I mean, early on, I recommend getting all the life forms generally, but I've been on such a long journey, I'm being more choosy about what life forms I get. Another app I like to use, Discovery. Oh. How can this be so weak? Seriously. Thought I had it out here. Okay, it's just one word. All right, so this plugin also helps with scanning and identifying stuff, but also will upload results of your exploration. And then in general, knowing how or where the life forms like to live on a planet can be pretty empowering. Okay, did I look? I did not look. Um, like knowing that concha likes to grow in rocky terrain at the feet of cliffs very often, and looking for bacterium from the air is easier than from your SRV. I do have a lot of fun driving my SRV, but I also recommend you maybe don't go more than like 50 jumps away from a carrier because it starts to get perilous carrying your knowledge that far. I haven't used Copilot and Exploration Buddy. I want to try those. I do have EDMC. I guess I'm just not running it right now. Go ahead and run it. I like to put my data into the cloud. I think it's really nice if this happens. I love contributing to those big player-based bodies of knowledge.
Body C4.
Okay.
Argon
Those
atmospheric
are just $1
landable with
million
life.
things.
Body C3.
Those are
Argon
also just $1
atmospheric
million
landable with
things.
life.
I've been on such a long trip and made some bad choices and got my SRV destroyed. So I'm also, again, being really choosy about landing. They have to be pretty high valuable bio things. But I don't know. If people are watching and they haven't done it much, it can be worth
Body
it
C2.
just seeing how to get
Nitrogen
it quickly.
atmospheric
That
landable
one's
with
worth
life.
something. All right, that one has bacterium, which is one of the more interesting ones to hunt for. So I'll go ahead and go for it. And the bacterium is worth like $8.4 million. So it's worth more than normal. Normally bacterium is one of the lowest, cheapest ones, and sometimes you have to put more effort than it's worth for it. It's weird because stratum's the easiest and it's the most valuable. Body.
System scan complete.
All right, so let's go to that other planet. I need to make up for some lost money. And bacterium is actually one you prefer to get 5,000. Let's go max speed. I don't have SCO right now. First time I get it will be nice. Yeah. And you can have a lot of fun just, driving around like crazy in an SRV. Because exploring can be like the same thing for a while. That's why I kind of wish there was a carrier closer to me so I could unload my stuff more often and engage in more risky flights without losing as much money. Because it's like fun to fly through the mountains on, going really fast, stuff like that. If you've already unloaded all your data, it's a lot more enjoyable to engage in that sort of stuff. Let me see how far we are. So I started this journey back here. I lost all my money around about here. And I'll gain a substantial amount of money just trying to make it back to this place. And when I get there, I'll have a new explorer ship for me. Well, again, with ADHD, I would also recommend, just because you can have these, like, look how far I am into the galaxy. This is 450 jumps. It becomes very repetitive. So I do recommend if you can make smaller trips so that you can offload all your valuable assets, your data, without getting into a risk of crash. Because isn't ADHD associated with impulsivity, which is associated with crashes? I suppose not every version of ADHD is, though. But look at the camera. Seems like all the planets are on my side. Where am I? So they're all orbiting this system. The system has moons. I see. Oh, that's a good combination. In relationship to the bubble is back here. So I'm actually headed pretty close to Beagle's Point. And while I'm out here, I am going to try to go to Beagle's Point so I can have that accomplished since I am so far out. See it, it looks pretty big, but I'm not yet able to shoot. That's a really dim star. This planet is very dark. So that makes everything a little harder. Bacterium isn't always, it's going to depend on the surface of the planet and what the bacterium's like. This might be pretty hard because it's such a dark world. All right, so there's some green. I would say a valuable asset is landing pretty quickly, being able to land fast. All right, so if I go like 280 degrees consistently from here, I think I'll be able to find bacteria. Or even if I go, I guess that's 350 degrees. No, wait, 10 degrees. If I head east, basically, no, I'm heading west right now. And if I head north, there's a ton of bacterium still in the green areas. Cutting the glide now. You know, one thing I wish I did, and I never do it, is I wish I checked the gravity of a planet before I roll up on it. Because sometimes the gravity will catch you by surprise, and that's really bad. Okay. It also generally sucks to have the glare in your face, so I'm going to go ahead and reorient to about 10 degrees. No glare. For bacteria, we'll get down to like 100 meters or so. I'll just float in the sky and use my free camera to look on the ground. Coming down too hard. All right. Thank you, shields. Hey, my number one shield. All right, let's go a little faster. All right. Hopefully the bacterium has some sort of contrast. Sometimes the stratum is worth 1 million. There is a few species of stratum that's not worth very much. But normally the stratum can be worth quite a bit more, like 19 million. And I've never seen bacterium worth 19 million. I've seen bacterium be as high as 8, like the 8 million I'm going after right now. Usually though, also the stratum and bacterium will coexist very often. So then you end up just getting the 19 million and the 20 million, the 19 million and the 1 million, so that you just have an easy total of 100 or 20 million. And then times 5, I think I see some bacterium over here. And it's times 5 if you're the first person to ever go to that world. That is not bacterium. I ain't seeing much. Given the color saturation, I would thought the bacterium would be really visible. So it's a little challenging. Wait, that's bacterium right there. And also, I destroyed my car on accident. That's when I lost so much of my money. So I recommend you not spend a whole lot of time doing backflips. Or every time your SRV hole gets to 50%, repair it. And if you don't know how to repair, definitely Google that stuff. And I might just repair. Repairing your SRV is a lot easier than repairing your ship. But since I don't have an SRV, I can't actually demonstrate it. Because my SRV was destroyed. Because I didn't listen to my own advice, which is always repair your SRV when it gets to 50%. Yeah.
Bacterium in Form M confirmed present. Base value 8.42 million, minimum sample distance 500 meters. First partial sample collected.
The first discovery gives you a 5 times bonus, or it's times 4. So you get the value, and then you get a multiplier times 4. So it's basically 5 times whatever the value is the first time you report it in. And that makes it really valuable. So that makes Stratum, 100 million. You get 10 of those and you have $1 billion. You get 10 more of those and you have 10 billion, and then that's like enough for a carrier. And then if you're really into exploration, I have to highly recommend a carrier. Because then you can have a place to go back to. Or,
minimum distance reached.
There's a lot of groups.
You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
There's a lot of groups that play this game that network, that have DSA carriers, DSSA carriers, I think they're called. The problem is that they're pretty far out there and pretty far between. It's a little easier if you have your own, I think. So that way you can consistently return exobio data without carrying it for too long. Because I'm saying, for me, the risk is carrying it for so long, I get bored. And I have to mitigate risk of my own boredom. The boredom only comes and goes, and usually with melancholy moods. There's some bacterium straight ahead. Oh, yeah. Yes, having your own carrier. Oh, yeah, calling for colonizers. You see, I haven't been back to the civilization since they started that, and I want to. After this is done, I'm going to go back, and I want to make my own colonies. But I didn't know people were making money from hauling for colonies, so I'm intrigued by that, and I might try that myself. But I do think the fastest way to make money is exobio. We're new worlds. Where was that? There. Are you flying your carrier as you explore?
Second partial sample collected.
I think that would be a pretty good strategy to get really far out there, considering you can jump 500 light years at a time. It takes a while to get to Colonia, though. Even with the carrier. Yeah, it might be like a 3-day trip. I think it took I rode someone else's carrier from the bubble to Colonia, and it took a weekend and like another couple days or something.
Minimum distance reached. You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
You know, I just saw one. I'm gonna let it go. This train looks kind of lame for landing. Take some work. All right, let's come back down. There. Go a little closer. Let me look through that panel. Oh, you're riding someone else's cruiser or someone else's carrier out? I guess I didn't think to do that. I mean, think to buy one and. Oh, I didn't realize shipping for colonizers was so lucrative. I'm somewhat intrigued by that.
Sample collection complete.
All right, so we're out of the star system.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, there we go. Wanted to see if that was looking just like my avatar. Again, for some reason, he has a scar I don't have. I'm glad I don't have it, though. Oh, yeah, from the colony to Colonia and Amandalay. I could see that, especially with the improved jump range. My ship does not have that right now. I definitely would recommend exploring with a ship with a tremendous jump range. Like, it's true that I've been like methodically going through the galaxy and hitting lots of locations. But if I had a longer jump range, it'd be easier to return to someplace. And then you can already do like more economical jumps. You can limit your jumps to like short ranges. So that way you can explore densely. But it's so much better to have that big jump range so that
Body
you can go
7.
home when you want to.
Neon atmospheric landable.
Right now, there's no way for me to go anywhere except for
Body
clawing my
5.
way out.
Neon atmospheric
So that's a
landable
$1
with
million
life.
item, not very valuable.
Body 6.
1 million.
Neon atmospheric landable with life. Body 1. Neon-rich atmospheric landable. Body 4. Neon atmospheric landable.
Yeah, I bet it was a lot of jumps. Hopefully you got a lot of undiscovered systems. Like when I have to take a path that's well worn, I usually go
Body
System
2.
scan complete.
Neon atmospheric landable with life.
$1 million life. I usually go like 40 or 60 light years perpendicular to the path and then do my path. So that way I hit a lot of systems that haven't been explored yet. But still, even taking the carrier to Colonia, I remember getting out and no one had ever discovered the star system that we arrived in before. Like I was the first person to discover all the planets. So even on the path to Colonia, there's lots of uncharted systems.
Body 1. May host a new personal codex entry.
Amphora plants. I've never had one of those. I've never even seen an amphora plant. That's intriguing. I thought I had collected every kind of named life form there was already. So I am curious. The amphora plant isn't worth very much, 1.6 million. But since I haven't discovered it or ever seen it before, I'm really curious about it. Yeah, one thing I've wanted to do. There you go, Scene. Good to see you. One thing I've wanted to do is actually be on a carrier while we're jumping. It'd be dope to have VR goggles actually for that. I don't know if the first person view is in VR or not, but then play like Dungeons and Dragons or, Delta Green type of game in the carrier's lounge with other humans. I thought that would be pretty fun, especially because your character ends up with a lot of downtime while you're waiting for these jumps. Like every jump takes like,
Body 4. Wide ring.
what kind of planet is that? Class 3? I don't recall that sort of color before. But I don't think it's a
Body
green.
4E.
Ooh.
Ammonia atmospheric landable
We'll go
with
there
life.
just because there's a lot of stuff
May
to
host
get.
a new personal codex entry.
Oops, wrong button.
Body 4F. Ammonia
So
atmospheric
none of these are
landable with
particularly
life.
valuable again, but
May
there's
host a
enough
new
of
personal
them
codex entry.
that they are interesting. Still, I want to know more about the amphora plant.
Body 4D. Ammonia atmospheric landable with
Again,
life.
none of these are
May host
in the
a new
19 million
personal
range,
codex
but there's
entry.
just so many of them, and there are most like there's a 7 million, there's a 4 million, there's a 5 million. They add up to be a valuable thing. Some of these plants
Body
are harder to
4G.
find than others, though,
Argon atmospheric landable with life.
and they don't always overlap in their areas that they dwell in. But it sure is convenient when they do. And it's all harder without an SRV. Not used to doing that.
Body 2E. Sulfur dioxide atmospheric landable with life.
Stratum, valuable stratum.
May host a new personal codex entry and may
It's
host
there.
a high-value biological.
It's not the 19 million, it's 16 million. It's a little unusual, but I'll take that. So we'll be doing some exobio in this system.
Body 2D. Sulfur dioxide atmospheric landable
We'll have
with
to
life.
find out. This one has
May
either
host a
really
new personal codex
cheap
entry.
bacterium or actually valuable stratum. So we'll be going to that star system after we do all these others.
System scan complete.
Okay. Let's take a look at these gas giants. Let's do that red one. Got to go to the other view. All right. I was definitely checking to make sure it's not green, and it's not green. Okay, which one did I mark as being weird? All right, I think this is the one that my system said might have life, and then now it says there's no chance of life. Yeah, amphora plant, but now it says there's no chance of it existing. I honestly don't know what an amphora plant would be. It says it shows up in horizons, so that's usually... I think a horizons bio is not the same. Yeah, I don't know what an amphora plant is. All right, so 2D looks like the closest one that has life of value. We'll go there first. $150 million. Did you clear? Okay, I didn't follow the usual path to Colonia, so that's good. So that takes you out of the usual paths. And I did very little exploration in the process. I guess you hit known star systems, or maybe you rode the neutron highway. That's fine. What's crazy is as you get close to the core, you can ride neutron stars all over while still hitting undiscovered neutron stars. There's a lot in that area as you Colonia towards Sagittarius A star, which I highly recommend taking that area. And there's so many star systems to hit up in the core of the galaxy that have never been touched, and they're all often loaded with valuable resources. It's just very dense. It's very obvious to me that one time, eventually in this game universe, humans would colonize that area and be very wealthy for it. Whoever can just grab 1,000 stars in the core of the galaxy will have really resource-rich systems. That said, it's going to take real effort to actually legitimately exert power over 1,000 star systems in the core of the galaxy when the population isn't there. I think in real life, the core of the galaxy is probably tumultuous and dangerous to humans. In real life, from what I understand, humans live in a very calm area of the galaxy that's relatively empty, speaking. I think all the supernovas that helped form our star long ago pushed everything away from us. Yeah, happy 4th. It's raining so much in Central Texas. And this kind of rainstorm gives me the vibe of like it lasting for a long time. And people are talking about this might refill the lakes. So it's going to be a wet 4th here. Now, this is the kind of planet where stratum and bacteria are often like side by side.
By 50%.
All right. Oh, didn't need it.
Complete.
All right, so that's bacterium. Wait, there's no stratum here? I thought there were 2 bios. I went to the wrong world. Well, I mean, I'm glad I mapped it. I found out there is no stratum there. So now we are going to 2E. Yeah, 2E. Yeah, Colonia is pretty dense itself, and I was able to find some undiscovered stuff. Um, it helps if you travel in a straight line away from it for a little while, and then from there you can start circling. But there's also this habit that people have of not going to red dwarf star systems. I think they're always searching for Earth-like worlds, and those won't be in a red dwarf. I don't think. Awesome. Um, I do upload my journals to ED to the different services. I don't know what all the different ones are.
Body 2E.
Can you search
May
those by
host a new
commander?
personal codex entry and may host a high-value biological.
Yeah, it does have a high value biological. Tell that. So yeah, this is one where the bacterium and stratum are right next to each other. That should make it easier to search. Let's go ahead and go down while we're still on the daylight side. That's another thing about searching for biolife forms. It's easier to find them in the daylight. So recommend finding the daytime side.
Orbital flight engaged.
Sometimes I forget I need to re-accelerate after exiting orbit. Wish I knew how to change my camera. Turn that bit off. All right, I think I feel like I see hints of the right colors.
Landing gear deployed.
Sure do. Normally, this is the kind of stuff I would hunt in an SRV. The bacteria is highly visible. An SRV can just jump up in the air and look around. You'll see it really quick. But again, I destroyed my SRV. So I'm doing this with an airplane.
New codex entry. Stratum cucumesis, emerald. Stratum cucumesis confirmed present. Base value 16.2 million, minimum sample distance 500 meters.
I don't think those things are.
First partial sample collected.
I don't know how far those things are. I just went 60 meters. I estimate those are at 180 meters. I'm going to just keep on my airplane. Oops. Meant to hit gain altitude,
Minimum
not go
distance
faster.
reached. You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
What's she seen? Do you have to? I guess you have to look it up by the commander's name on those map services.
Second partial sample collected.
Compass. Oops, wrong button. I like how I'm entering my ship and my ship still says it's 26 meters away. I guess that's from the center of the ship. Maybe the cockpit.
Minimum distance reached. You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
Really? Come on. I have not visited any engineers. That's definitely something on my
Sample
to-do
collection
list.
complete.
I've heard there's some good engineers in Colonia too, but I've never. I left Colonia before I knew about engineering, and then I hadn't done any of the work to like have earned anything by the years. So that's on my list of things to do.
Bacterium cerebris confirmed present. Base value 1.69 million, minimum sample distance 500 meters. First partial sample collected.
Oh, I totally thought I was going to land on that.
Minimum distance reached. You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
All right, that looks good. Get that piece. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of Guardian Grind stuff. um, recently, or more recently, since I've left the bubble and all that. It definitely would be worth the extra jump. Dang it, where was it? Did I overshoot it? Yeah, it's right there.
Second partial sample collected.
All in an SRV. Interesting. Is it? I'll definitely have to check out the Guardian grind because I do love piloting the SRV. Pretty embarrassing to have crashed it.
Minimum distance reached. You've traveled over 500 meters from previous sample.
Interesting. Camera mode in the Yeah. Sometimes I have trouble activating camera mode. I'm not sure how to do that in the SRV. It's a different button combination than it is for the vehicle, and I think even for the person for some reason. All right. We'll go to the planet 4D
Sample
next.
collection complete.
A lot of price volatility on this next planet. I don't know if I have the cheap version of things or the more valuable version. On planet 4D, that is. Well, we're going to 4D. Where is it? Okay, so we got to get into space anyway. I don't entirely understand why. Here, radar, put it at 90. Okay, that should have that big red sphere be directly behind me. And it does, so that's right. It happens. One of the things that's fun about this game is actually just the grind. The grind is fun enough that it's okay to have setbacks. All right, Super Cruise. So yeah, when I get to that carrier, I went and ahead and used ARCs to buy a souped up with a Mandalay Stellar. I'm going to try that out. That should have a pretty good jump range, but also the SCO. I'm looking forward to the SCO so that these sort of journeys take a lot faster. Happen a lot faster. More appropriate grammar. Where am I? How can I make this go faster? Wait, I thought that was... Okay, max speed. I think when I get to the carrier, they'll be able to repair the SRV that I have. Um, that's pretty much it. Until I get to a place that does full repairs, I can't use it. And then from the shipyard, because I bought it in the ARC store, I should be able to get any ship. And so with that, a lot of these carriers in deep space don't have stores, so you can't just buy ships and put them together. But you can usually get something that you got in the ARC store. And they had a big sale recently. I went ahead and got some ships and sent FDev some money for that. Can I not go faster? Am I in? Go faster, come on. Okay, this is how you end up overshooting a planet pretty easily. And sometimes just overshooting it and coming back is actually much faster. I don't have a group yet. I need to get in a group. And when I get back to the bubble or in Colonia even, I'll definitely start looking into joining like a wing, I think they call it. And some people talked on Reddit about it and made it seem like you could basically ask and it'd be pretty reliable. I didn't realize it was getting to be 2:30 already. I'm gonna have to start getting ready soon. Let's see if I can hit this planet up quick though. Man, it's gonna be tough to do Odysseus without an SRV. I'm gonna be having to do a lot of flying. Sometimes you can hit these other planets. I don't think I'll be able to hit that one though. A little too far away. Dang it.
Surface scanned by 50%. Surface scan
Got
complete.
the lowest budget version of everything. That's no fun. And I bet the Cactoidia is hard to find. Well, they got some good Cactoidia areas. But it's the Fungoida that is still also possibly the cheapest version of Fungoida. All right, if I added that all up together, it could still be worth $50 million. Problem is these things aren't lined up together at all. Yeah, without an SRV, I think this planet's not worth it. A little brutal. All right, we're gonna go check out 4E. Which happens to be right there. This will be a quick jaunt. I wonder if these planets collide. Oh, this is binary system. I get it. What? Yeah, it seems like they could have a collision when they get to this part of their orbit. Interesting. They could totally collide. Yeah, this is a planetary collision place. Double SRV. That's a good idea. Interesting. Yeah. So some of these planets do collide in their orbits, but they don't really have any sort of like explosion mechanic. The video game just simulates two spheres passing through each other, but it's still something really interesting to watch. And I've heard that it's pretty fun to be on the planet while it's happening don't have anything valuable on you because the planet might crush you, but that you can go back to orbit, but that you can like experience all sorts of cool gravitational effects when you do that.
Surface scanned by 50%.
That's gonna be it.
Surface scan complete.
Okay, we're on E. Okay, again, the fungoida looks like it might be valuable. Cactoida looks like it's hard to find. No, cactoida is kind of visible. All right, might as well take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and land,
Orbital flight
and
engaged.
then I'm gonna have to pause and go do stuff for the 4th of July. What is going on? I don't understand why it says I'm so negative. This planet must be tiny, because it's hard to aim at without going to like 40 degrees. Before I get much closer, where am I? 1.5 Gs, 0.15 Gs. So that's like 1/6 Earth's gravity. That's like the moon. So osseous, stratum, and cactoida should all be right around here. And yeah, hopefully this landing goes pretty well. Usually the glide doesn't work as well when you're at 45 degrees, but I think because this is such a small, low gravity planet, they went ahead and did it. Zero. Dang it, why is my... I wish there was an easy go thrust to 0. Dang it, I'm hitting the wrong buttons. Did not mean to hit that trigger. All right, so I'm gonna have to land and then actually go do some stuff. Unfortunately, not time to disembark. Yeah, I think one of these two moons will collide at some point in their orbit cycle. I'm almost positive of that. But because I'll not be in game unless I come back to the game. You see right here, that's how big they are. And they're totally big enough to start colliding at when they both are in this period. Like, so 4D would have to be moving in and 4E would have to catch up to it, but then they should totally collide and actually collide for a substantial period of time. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna have to sign off. Y'all have a good night. And maybe I'll be back. I mean, I'll be taking my youth lean out, and they're not all-nighters. But who knows what the fireworks will be. It's so wet in Central Texas that people are probably going to be pretty brazen with their fireworks. And the humidity has an interesting effect on the sound, I think. Well, I'll talk to y'all later.